Hello Summer, you're welcome to another interesting tutorial where you'll be learning the trick and tips in making Madam blouse with George fabric. You'll also be learning how to work with beaded and not beaded George, how to place your George pattern correctly, and how to cut and sew Madam blouse to your customer satisfaction. Please make sure you watch till the end because I will be giving you detailed explanation on how to sew this dress. Okay, I will be drafting on this pattern paper for a more clearer view. There are different ways to cut and sew Madam blouse, but in this class I'll be showing you my own method that works for me. And this one is not the regular off shoulder Madam blouse. This one has a shoulder. So I've gone ahead to mark my lines. This is my vertical lines. I will attach my client measurement on the screen. Okay, from my shoulder to my chest line is 9 inches. I divided my bust measurement by 6 and I added 1.5 inches. From my shoulder to bust point is 10. From my shoulder to under bust is 14. From my shoulder to waistline is 16. And from my shoulder to my upper hip is 20 inches. And from my shoulder to my full length is 23. I added 1 inch for folding. So I will mark my shoulder measurement. I divided it by 2. I have 7.5 and I rule it down to my chest line. Okay, I will now measure 3 inches for width of my neck and 4 inches for the depth of my neck. This neckline is not standard. You can alter it to your desired neckline. Okay, I will now come down by 1.5 inches for my shoulder slope and I will connect it to my neck width. Just rule a red line. Okay, the next thing I will do now is to divide my chest line by 2. I'll get the middle and I will come in by 0.75. This is for the front pattern. I will rule a straight line. So to curve my armhole now, what I will do, I will divide my bust circumference by 4. The bust circumference I'm working with is 39. Okay, 39 divided by 4. I will insert the measurement there. Then I will curve my armhole. If you don't have this pattern mask that I'm working with, you can still use your French curve. French curve will also work for you. So the next thing I will do now is to divide my waist circumference by 4. So whatever I get, I will now insert the measurement there. Please, when you're measuring your client, make sure you measure our upper hip. I will attach a picture on the screen so that you can see what I mean. So you measure your upper hip, you divide it by 4 and you insert the measurement here. I will now connect it straight to my hemline. Just watch how I connected it. Your hip side won't be straight. You curve it a little bit so that it will accommodate your stomach. The next thing now is to mark my dart. The dart I'm working with is 3.5 inches. You now mark it on your waistline and you rule a straight line. Just rule a straight line from my butt point down to the hem. Okay, to mark my dart length, I will, from my butt point, I will come down by 1 inch, and from my waistline I will come down by 5 inches. This is to give it that Madam blouse effect. Okay, and on my waistline now, what I will do is that I will use 0.75 to tighten my waist. I'll just connect it to the below my bust point. You can also tighten your waist by 0.5. That is up to you. I like using 0.75 so that the fitting will come out well. So the next thing I will do now is to measure my under bust. From my shoulder, I will come down by 14 inch to insert my under bust measurement. I did not remember to do that at the beginning. You have to do it and label it so that you won't get confused. I will now roll out my line. Okay, also label it. Label your lines, it's very necessary. Okay, for my yoke, what I will do, I will come down from where I measure down my neck depth. I'll come down by 6. You can also measure from your under bust to where you want this yoke to stop. If you want it to be high or low, that is up to you. Okay, I will now rule a straight line. I'll just rule a straight line as a guide on how to draw my sweetheart neck. Just follow what I'm doing. Just fix your eyes on the screen, you will get it right. I will now curve my sweetheart neck. Very easy. I will clean this line here. This is my yoke. So now the next thing I will do is to divide my shoulder by 2. This is a shoulder princess that bustier, so I will connect it to my bust point. I'll connect it to my bust point. Okay, the shape is coming out. The next thing now, I will tighten the upper bust. This is the over bust. If you don't tighten it, you find that after sewing your clothes, it will not relax well. It will be opening up. Okay, because I won't be using bust that on this my madam blouse, I will tighten my over bust and my under bust very well. So I use 1 inch on both sides to tighten it. I'll mark 1 inch. Just do the same thing. If you are using bust that, there won't be need for too much tightening. So I will replace it on my armhole. Please remember to replace it. If you don't replace it, you run shortage of fabric. It's only 1 inch that you mark for the replacement. The next thing is to connect my line to my bust point. Just connect it the way you see me doing. Don't make your line too curvy. Okay, that's just it. So on the under bust area, I'll also tighten it. On this side now, I will measure 1/2 inch, and on this side I will measure 1.25, and I will connect it. Because of the George pattern I'm placing at the front, I want the bust to come out very well. I want it to come out very well. Okay, if your bust is flat, it won't give you that fitting. It will not come out well. So I will connect it. Make sure you curve it, but don't allow it to be pointy at your bust point. Just give it a smooth curve. Okay, I'm done connecting it. The next thing I will do now, I will mark it straight. Please, I want to mention something here. If your client have a big tummy, what you will do is to rule your line. Your line will stop at the waistline here now. If your client have a big tummy, so that it will create space for his tummy. If you mark it straight, the after sewing your blouse, it will be tight. So if it's a slim person, you roll it straight down. Just roll it straight down so that it will be well fitted. It won't be too wide at the stomach area. So that's all for that. At the hemline, I will measure 1 inch to give it that nice curve at the down part. At this side, I will come down by 1 inch and I will connect it. This doesn't affect anything because you will still be tying your wrapper, so it won't be showing. You mark it there. That's all for the front pattern. I will alter my neckline. I will come down by 2 inches. I don't want the neckline to be high. I will mark it there and I'll connect my line. Okay, the next thing I will do now is to cut it off. Please, if you are seeing my video for the first time, kindly subscribe to my channel. Please like my video and turn on your notification bell for more videos. Okay, I'm done cutting the front. This is all. So the next thing now is to cut my back part. I've all marked my lines too. This is my vertical lines from my shoulder to my chest line, pulse point, waist, and the full length. I will mark my shoulder. I will measure my shoulder and I will connect it straight down to my chest line. I will measure my neck width of 3, and for the back neck depth I will use 1.5, and I will connect my neckline. Okay, I will now come down by 1 inch. I took 1.5 inches for front. For my shoulder slope at the back, I will take 1, and I will measure my bust, a quarter of my bust circumference to curve my armhole. For the back, I will come in by ½ inch, that's 0.5. I'll connect it and I will curve my armhole the way I did at the front part. Okay, I will measure my waist, quarter of my waist circumference, and my upper hip. I will also insert quarter of my upper hip and I will connect it. Okay, the next thing I will do now is to mark my dart leg line. I also take 3.5 inches for my dart. I won't be tightening the back part too much. I won't be tightening it too much because I will also be tightening the zipper area so that my back will be flat. I won't have any bulge at the back. So I will just take 0.5 at the both that leg. I'll come down by 1 inch, and I'll also come down by 5 inches from my waist to 5 inches, and I will connect it the same way I did at the front. Okay, I will, on my waistline I will mark 0.75. This is to eliminate zipper bulge at the back, so that if you fit your zip it will lay down flat. Okay, because this is a shoulder princess that bustier, I will also divide my shoulder by 2. I want the back to look stylish, so I will use shoulder princess that. I will connect it. I will also curve my down part the same way I did at the front. This is the end of the cotton part. Now it's time for us to sew it. This is the beautiful George fabric I'm working with. I have the wrapper here. This is for my front. As we go on, I will explain to you how I will use it. I also have my satin here. Okay, I'll be using the satin fabric as my support fabric. If you like, you can use raw silk. Okay, please, if you're sewing for your client, don't use only satin to sew for your client. You will place your net fabric on it. Okay, this is when I was adding my sewing allowance. I added 2 inches at the side, half inch. You do the same thing on your front, center front. Do the same thing on your back. Added 2 inches for my zipper allowance. Added half inch this side. Just follow the process. If you have any question, you can drop the question on the comment section. So I will now cut it off. I'll cut it. After cutting it, I will cut for the back pieces and for the remaining parts for the front. Just cut everything out. I also cut my lining, but please reduce your lining by 1 inch from the down part, and make sure you iron if your fabric is rumpled. Okay, this one you are seeing here is from the blouse. I'll show you how you can walk around it, but before then I'll be cutting out some part that I will be using to place on my cut out pieces so that it can give it that rich look. Don't sew it like that. I will now determine the stretchy part. The stretchy part will be horizontal. If you place the stretchy part vertically, you find that when you are sewing it, it will be long. So you place it very well. Please, if you are sewing a madam blouse, don't use only satin to sew for your client. It's not professional. Just stretch it out the way I'm doing it. Cut it. That's how you will cut for all the pieces, both for the front and for the back. As you can see, it's giving it a rich look. You don't sew it like that. Please don't use only satin to sew for your customer. I've cut all of them out. Okay, if you have watched up to this length, please kindly hit the subscribe button. Okay, this is my wording. I've cut my wording. I have a detailed tutorial on how to cut and on how to pad your bustier. I've ironed my hairstay on the main fabric and soft gum on the lining to stabilize it. Okay, I will now place my net on my fabric. Just make sure you iron it so that it will be neat. Place it very well. Determine the stretchy part. The stretchy part will be placed horizontally. So arrange it very well. Please, if you're a beginner, I will advise you to sew it round. Sew it round. It is better. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'll be using gum. Gum can also ruin your dress if you are not careful. So that's why it's very important for you to sew. For me, I know how I gum my fabric so that it won't stain my clothes. You will now do it for all the pieces, both for the front and for the back. And I will now join it. This is the joining part. You place it together. Make sure it matches. You sew it with half inch. I will just mark it now so that you understand what I'm talking about. Just mark half inch. See the way I'm marking it. You follow the line and sew. Make sure you pin it before sewing so that it won't shift. This is for the sake of beginners. You pin. I'm done sewing it. I will notch it. Very important so that it can lay flat. Okay, after notching it, I'll push it out. As you can see, my cup is well formed. If you draft your pattern very well, you will like the outcome of your dress. Please use your tailor's hand to open press and iron very well. The bust area really came out well. This is very good because of the judge placement. Okay, you iron it. The judge I'm working with is not a beaded judge, so there's techniques on how to place the pattern. Please also join your lining. Okay, I've done for my back too. I've joined my back. Okay, I'll also use the net for the blouse to cut out the yoke. You can also buy the matching color of the net. The next thing now is to cut my yoke. I'll fold it into 4. Fold it and fold it again. And I'll place it and cut it out. I'll show you how you can also work with beaded judge. This is not beaded judge. Just add half inch round for the sewing allowance. Just do it the same way I'm doing it here. I'll cut it off. After cutting it, the next thing I will do now is to go to my sewing machine and sew it round. Just use half inch and sew the neck part. Only the neck part, sew it round. I've sewn it. Okay, you will notch it and trim off the excess fabric. I'll turn it inside out. Just push it out and arrange it very well. After arranging it, you now go to your sewing machine and secure it. Just sew it round like this. Okay, I'm done sewing it. The next thing now is to attach it. You place it very well. Give it a little notch so that it will allow you to join it. I use my pin to pin it round. Just pin it carefully the way I'm pinning it. After sewing in it, I will flip it to the other side and also sew there. Just watch closely what I'm doing, you will get it right. After pinning it, you go to your sewing machine and use half inch to sew it. Okay, this is what you will have after you are done sewing it. Push it out. This is what you will have. So I will now go and sew it and come back and show you the next thing you will do. Okay, I'm done sewing it now. Done sewing it. I will notch it round. Make sure you remove your pins. Give it a notch. Okay, this is my back. I will work on my back now. Though this part is not really necessary, but for the sake of beginners, I'll show you how you can insert your zip. First of all, you will close it. Use your lining to turn the main fabric. Just close the down part and the two sides and push it out. You also do the same thing for the other side. Okay, I've turned the two sides of the back. I will use my iron to iron it. So the next thing now is to insert the zip. To insert the zip from the hemline, from down, you come up by 1 inch before you place your zip. This zip is open and close zip. You don't place it down at the down direct. You come up a little bit. Okay, I'll go and sew it now. Okay, this is how the zip looks like. See the down part? This will really give it a nice look. What I will do now, I'll flip it to the other side and I will match it. Make sure it's equal. If you sew accurately, the two parts of the back will be equal. See the way I did it, I also pin it and I will go to my sewing machine and sew it down. I'm done sewing it. Okay, see what I was telling you. So for this part now, what you will do is to fold it and you sew. I'll use my needle and thread and tack it so that it will be neat, the thread won't show. Just fold it and stitch it first before folding it again to use your needle to tack it down. Okay, that one is done. Next thing I will do now is to put my lining. You match it middle to middle. You sew your lining before placing your George pattern. Now pin it. Okay, you pin it very well. After pinning it, you go to your sewing machine and join it. Please, when you are joining it, be very careful so that you won't sew the net along. Okay, I've sewn it already. I will notch it. This notching is very important. You notch it. You can as well use your hemming gum when you are sewing it so that when you iron it, it will stick very well. It will be neat. I will just give it a good press. Okay. Okay, this is how the back look like. Very neat. You iron it. Make sure you iron it flat. This is the pattern for my blouse. This is what I'm left with. If you are working with non-beaded fabric like mine, you know that you will not trim it. You will not trim it. You will just place it like that. Okay, see the one that I will use on my sleeve. I use this one to design my sleeve. Okay. The difference between beaded and non-beaded george is that you will not place beaded george the way I'm going to place this one now. The beaded george, you have to trim it. This is the breast ball that I'll be using because I don't have a dress form, so I'll be using this one so that it will guide me on how I will place my pattern. If you are working with beaded george, note that you will close the two sides. You finish your blouse first before attaching your trimmings. I will now trim the upper part out. I will trim the upper part out. So if you are working with non-beaded george like mine, you can as well sew your satin without placing net on it, because you will place the whole of the pattern there. But beaded george, you have to trim it off and you use your needle and thread to tack it. So I will pin it now. Use your pin to pin everything down. If you are working with beaded george, you know you will tack it down with needle and thread, or use gum to stick it. For this one, I will show you how you can do it. So I will, on my underbust, I will slash it open as if I'm doing a bust dart. You slash it and you will now use the other one to place on it. This is very important so that your cup can lay flat and the cup will come out well. If you don't do this, it won't give you a nice look. You will do this even on beaded george. You do this so that your work will come out well. You place it and you use a pin to secure it. I'll show you how you can hold it down. Just use pin to hold it for now. You also do the same thing on the other side. After doing it, it will now look like a bra cup that you inserted a bra cup on it. Okay, for where I slash open, I'll use my gum. Just little gum. and dab on it. Use U gum. Please, I will advise you use U gum because that one will not stain your clothes. You buy original U gum, you now place it. As you can see, it's not showing. It's not showing. The gum is not showing on the fabric. It will stick well. So that is all that I have. I will trim it off. I've trimmed the excess off, and I will turn my lining. As you can see, I pin it. I did not use gum on the side to hold it down. I just used my pin to hold it. I will now turn my lining. As I'm sewing it, the lining will hold everything down. That's the easiest way to do that. You don't need to tag or sew before sewing your lining. Just use your pin. As you're sewing, you are removing your pin. Okay, I'm done sewing it. I will notch it, and from my armhole I will now bring everything out. This is what I have. The George pattern look very good on the dress. Please, I have other videos on my channel on how I wrap basic bodice pattern. I explain a detailed process on how to do that. Please go to my channel and check other videos. I will iron it now, and I will place the front and back together, and I will close the side. I'll close the shoulder. This is what I have. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.